If you think our ancient ancestors were primitive, think again. The people who lived on this planet thousands of years ago were very similar to you or me. They simply had different beliefs and technologies at their disposal. Having said that, their technology might have been more sophisticated than we imagined. Watch this video full of amazing old technologies if you want proof. Number 1. We start with an artifact that was discovered in a Warring States-era mausoleum tomb in China in 1990. Crystal is commonly used in glasses and tableware today, but until crystal was discovered of the Warring States, we had no idea that the technology behind glass was available to the elite members of Chinese society 2,200 years ago. The glass resembles a modern one and is in surprisingly good condition for its age. It is 15 centimeters high with a round opening at the top and is made of high-quality natural crystal. It is considered so important in China that it is listed as one of the 64 ancient artifacts that are never allowed to leave the country. This precious item was found in Henan province, about 60 centimeters underground, inside the tomb of an unknown individual. It is the only such glass from that period that has been found in China, but the glass breaks so easily that it is probably no surprise that more examples have not yet been found. The real question is how it was made, and it's one that today's experts have yet to answer. Number 2. While we talk about the technological achievements of the ancient Chinese, let's ask ourselves a question that at first sounds ridiculous. Were the Chinese capable of flying more than 2,000 years ago? We wonder because records suggest that Emperor Changtang had a flying machine built in 1766 BC, but then destroyed his aircraft to ensure that no one else discovered the secrets of flight. There may be nothing to that story, but 2,300 years ago, Chinese poet Chu Yun completed a study of the Gobi Desert. It should only have been possible to capture the details he captured by observing the desert from above, implying that he viewed it from an aircraft. The oral traditions of the Nepalese people also contain multiple references to powered flight, which they say was a knowledge reserved for the Yavanas. What we can say for sure is that ancient residents of China made devices called bamboo dragonflies or bamboo helicopters around 2,400 years ago. They were children's toys and consisted of a propeller on a stick capable of taking off from the ground if rotated enough. Who's to say that no one made a bamboo dragonfly big enough to fit a person inside? Number 3. Let's move from ancient China to ancient Egypt. There is a compelling argument that they had access to other forms of advanced technology. Many of their largest structures were made of hard stones such as granite, diorite, basalt, and quartzite. These are materials that cannot be shaped efficiently even with iron tools, but the Egyptians shaped them to perfection and did not have iron tools at their disposal until 2,700 years ago. We are supposed to believe that they drilled holes in the granite using only bronze tools, which are too soft to have accomplished the task. The famous unfinished obelisk at Aswan is one of the most obvious examples of a case where the tools involved in the work could not have been what we believe the Egyptians had. Analysis of the precise lines of the obelisk suggests that they were created using a cutting tool that, as far as we know, the Egyptians had nothing capable of carrying out such work. This is such a glaring problem that some historians wonder if there was an advanced civilization in this part of the world before the arrival of the Egyptians. If so, it is a civilization that disappeared without a trace. Number 4. How could a 15th century Italian soldier fight at night if it was too dark to see his opponent? Did he go to sleep and wait until morning? No, he used a lantern shield. The curious shield had a small hole in the upper part in which a flashlight could be placed, accompanied by a second compartment for oil. That way, a soldier could continue fighting all night until the sun came up. An alternative theory is that the flashlight was intended to be an offensive weapon designed to blind the opponent. Historians differ as to whether these devices were actually used in combat or were only used by the ancient equivalent of police officers patrolling the streets of Italian cities at night. In any case, they were probably more trouble than they were worth. It would have been easy for oil to leak through the shield, setting the wearer's arm on fire and leaving him at a significant disadvantage. It may not be a perfect invention, but it is extremely innovative for its time. Number 5. According to the official narrative of history, the human race was unaware of the force of magnetism until the Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus wrote about it 2,600 years ago. We don't believe that to be true. There is much circumstantial evidence that the ancient Olmec civilization of South America knew about magnetism long before and even incorporated it into their statues and structures. Several magnetically charged objects have been recovered from Olmec sites in Mexico, including a 3,400-year-old polished bar that may have been part of a magnetic compass. Magnetic anomalies can also be found on the snout of a sculpture of a mystical animal at Izapa and on many of the Olmec heads and pot-bellied statues. Anomalies occur so frequently that it is statistically almost impossible for them to have gotten there by accident. Each of the Monte Alto statues has magnetic properties. It is a virtual certainty that magnetism was observed and understood by the Olmecs long before it was observed and understood by anyone else on Earth. But how did they discover it, and why did they incorporate it into their statues? Number 6. The same ancient shipwreck that gave us the Antikythera mechanism revealed another treasure in June 2022, when marine archaeologists located what is believed to be the lost head of a 2,000-year-old statue of the Roman god Hercules. The shipwreck, which lies off the coast of Greece, was discovered by sponge divers in 1900 and has been under constant archaeological evaluation ever since. It is thought to have been in its current position since around 60 BC. The marble head has gone unnoticed until now because it is in such poor condition that it was thought to be a deformed rock. It was only possible to identify it as a head after divers also found the base of the statue, complete with the lower parts of its legs. The head is not the only notable discovery at the dive site recently. Archaeologists have also found 2 human teeth embedded in marine deposits, confirming that at least one person did not escape the ship before it sank. Historians think this 130-foot-long ship was headed to Rome from somewhere in the eastern Mediterranean when she sank during a storm, but they hope to learn more from these new discoveries. Number 7. We know that the Black Death was the deadliest plague to ever hit the face of the earth. We also know that the plague peaked between 1346 and 1352. What we've never known is where the plague started, but that might have changed recently. After examining thousands of medieval tombstones, researchers believe they may have traced the origins of the Black Death to a specific, unlikely location. If they are right, it began near Lake Issyk-Kul, in what is now Kyrgyzstan. A disproportionately high number of burials took place in the nearby Barana and Karajigak cemeteries between 1338 and 1339, with the cause of death listed as pestilence. Scientists opened the graves of 3 of the individuals and identified plague bacteria in all of them. From there, the plague probably reached Western Europe on merchant ships and then killed about 50% of Europe's total population. Although rats were once thought to be responsible for the transmission of the Black Death, it is now thought more likely that it was transmitted by infected fleas. Number 8. The Viking civilization may have started in Scandinavia, but it spread across many lands. We know that the Vikings came to North America, so comparatively, Iceland was a short trip for them. In May 2022, a human-made cave was discovered in the small Icelandic village of Odi, and archaeologists are convinced that Viking settlers are responsible for its existence. Odi once belonged to a powerful Viking clan called the Odvajar, notably led by Siemundr the Scholar, who lived between 1056 and 1133 and wrote much of what we know about Norway's early kings. Excavation in the newly discovered cave system probably began during his time. Experts believe it could have been a nahir, a type of medieval stable for cattle and horses. The work of archaeologists inside the cave is risky because it is carved from soft sandstone and could collapse at any time. There are likely still discoveries to be made in the deepest corners of the cave, but finding a safe way to explore them could take archaeologists time. Number 9. Returning to Europe, we find the statues known as the Giants of Morni Prama, located near Cabras in the west of Sardinia, an island that belongs to Italy. They are impressive large creations, each of them measures 8 meters high and have large flat disc-shaped eyes that make those who observe them feel some discomfort. They have stood the test of time, but no one knows exactly how long they have been standing there. Most experts place the date of its creation between 3,100 and 2,800 years ago and point to the Nuragic civilization as the most likely builders. Unfortunately, our records on the Nuragic people are not extensive. They were expelled from their lands by the Roman Empire about 2,200 years ago, and the Romans practically erased any trace of their existence. However, it seems that the Romans appreciated these sculptures because they left them intact. The discovery in 1974 of ancient tombs near the statue suggests that they may have been placed there to guard the dead, although this is only speculation. Number 10. During the year 2022, archaeology in Ukraine. In the midst of these difficult times, an unexpected discovery emerged in May in Odessa, a collection of ancient Greek amphorae. This find, made during routine excavations in the city, revealed artifacts dating back approximately 2,500 years, when Odessa was known as Odessus and was a city founded by the Romans. These amphorae not only stand silent witnesses to the region's ancient history, but also offer a fascinating glimpse into life and trade in that distant period. Its discovery provides a ray of cultural hope in a context where more than 120 sites of historical and cultural importance have suffered damage due to recent events. Despite ongoing challenges, local archaeologists and experts are working to preserve and study these valuable artifacts, enriching our understanding of the past even amid the present adversities in Ukraine. Number 11. In the mysterious setting of Pumapunku, a megalithic complex located in the imposing heights of Bolivia, a fascinating story is woven that challenges our perceptions of antiquity and the technical capacity of ancient civilizations. For centuries, it was believed that this ritual enclave was erected by the Aymara people around the year 600 AD. However, recent research, supported by radiocarbon analysis, has revealed surprising findings. Some components of this complex date back to 100 years BC. If this evidence is true, it could profoundly alter our understanding of human development in the region, turning this discovery into an unprecedented archaeological milestone. By exploring the ruins of Pumapunku, scientists have managed to reconstruct the ancient appearance of this enigmatic place. Images emerge before us of a set of structures arranged on a hill, surrounded by impressive masonry. Most disconcerting, however, is the construction process itself, the transportation of enormous blocks of stone, some weighing several hundred tons, from considerable distances, without the aid of modern machinery. How did the ancient inhabitants of this region manage to move such loads through inhospitable and rugged terrain? This enigma has fueled speculation about possible extraterrestrial influences on the construction of Puma Punku, challenging the limits of our historical and technological understanding. Number 12. The Temple of Jupiter in Lebanon, located in the ancient city of Baalbek. At first glance, the ruined temple might look like a typical ancient Eurasian relic. However, this temple is exceptional. It features one of the most amazing blocks of rock on the planet, known as the Pregnant Woman Stone. Approximately 2,000 years old and weighing more than 1,000 tons, this stone has impressive dimensions, 20 meters long, 4 meters wide and high. What is notable is that the block is polished to the extremes, despite the wear and tear of time. The intrigue increases when considering that only part of the stone is shown, since it fell and has become impossible to lift. Even with the presence of advanced modern machines, this task would be practically unapproachable. It would require several dozen powerful cranes that cannot be located in the area. The mystery remains, if modern technologies cannot handle this stone, how did the ancients achieve its creation 2,000 years ago? It is an enigma that involves the meticulous treatment and polishing of the stone, as well as its transportation. However, the stone of the pregnant woman is only one element of Baalbek and its temple complex. At this location, there are numerous colossal blocks, carved columns, and other extremely heavy objects, each weighing around 800 tons. Scholars still cannot understand who the builders of these buildings were and, most intriguingly, why they needed them. This mystery deepens even further when we consider that Lebanon was under Roman rule and was not near the center of power of the empire when these monumental structures were erected on the outskirts. It is possible that the truth behind the construction in Baalbek is different, perhaps representative of an advanced civilization. Some scholars even hold the theory that only giants could have been the architects of these structures. A recently deceased researcher was convinced that the evidence supported the existence of extraterrestrials, arguing that how could such majestic blocks of stone be created by humans? The magnificence lies not only in the size of the individual buildings, but also in their decoration and treatment. Number 13. In 1912, the intrepid American bibliophile Wilfried Voynich acquired a unique literary treasure from the hands of Italian monks, a mysterious manuscript that has baffled scholars and the curious alike ever since. This ancient parchment, composed of 248 pages of peculiar dimensions, 22.5 by 6 centimeters, is a compendium of knowledge that defies all conventional categorization. Divided into various sections ranging from botany and astronomy to biology and recipes, the manuscript presents one enigma after another. The most disconcerting thing are the illustrations that accompany each entry. These represent objects and phenomena that defy human understanding, with medicinal plants and celestial bodies that have no parallel in known reality. Speculation about the authorship and purpose of the manuscript has been as abundant as the pages that compose it. Although scholars have determined that the manuscript dates back to the 14th century, the origin of its contents remains an unsolved enigma. Over the years, countless attempts have been made to decipher the incomprehensible text that fills its pages, but all have been unsuccessful. This frustrating lack of progress has fueled outlandish theories, including the suggestion that the manuscript could be a chronicle of life on an alien world. However, all these conjectures lack solid evidence. For these reasons, the Voynich manuscript has acquired a legendary reputation as one of the most elusive and captivating enigmas in the world of ancient books. Its content challenges the limits of human knowledge, inviting future generations to continue searching for answers in its intricate pages. Number 14. In Egypt, more than 5,000 years ago, people were already creating impressive jewelry with meteorites. They were pioneers in the world of jewelry, using these rare space rocks to make decorative objects. Recently, scientists made an astonishing discovery. They found a bead made from an iron meteorite that dates back to around 3,500 to 3,600 BC. They were believed to have magical powers, such as healing properties. People thought that wearing jewelry made from iron meteorites with their nickel content could balance and strengthen the body and even purify the blood. These special beads were found in 1911 in the Giza Cemetery, not far from Cairo. What's interesting is that they were created thousands of years before Egypt entered the Iron Age, making them some of the oldest examples of iron use in Egypt. What makes them even more special is their composition. Researchers found that they had a lot of nickel, which is a sign that they came from meteorites, and a special crystal pattern called Widmanstatten. These patterns only form in meteorites that come from asteroids in the early days of the solar system. Although some people were doubtful at first and thought that perhaps the high nickel content came from the smelting, later research showed that this was not the case. These beads were formed without heat, meaning they were cold worked.